Hi, my name is Fitzgerald. I'm a regional instructor for the NWFA. Today we're going to do a little demonstration on touching up natural oil or hard wax oil finishes. Over the last several years, these finishes have grown in popularity, but they function and work a little bit different than your traditional stain and polys, and they touch up a little bit easier and a little bit differently also. Typically, a lot of times, if you come here and zoom in, you'll see some scratches, some cross-grain scratches in here on this floor. Generally, you may catch these when you're staining with a traditional stain. You can simply just take some stain and put it on your sandpaper and kind of rub it and blend that in. But with these particular finishes here, because there is no polyurethane going over the top, your sheen or the way the floor reflects lights all depends upon your sanding. So when we touch this up, we kind of have to not only have to add color to it, but we have to mimic the original sanding that was on the floor also. So part of what we'll do is we're going to, one simple, easy way is generally when I touch it like this, if I find a scratch like this in the floor, I'll go ahead and finish the floor and I'll come back the next day and do the touch-up. One thing to remember, if you're doing a natural oil that has a hardener in it, and you're coming back to do the touch-up, when you do your touch-up, you want to do it with just the oil and not with the hardener. If you put extra hardener and oil on top of an oil floor, it will give it a different sheen and patina, and that will show up in the floor. So we've got these scratches here, so what we're going to do is just add a little bit more oil on top of them. We're going to take some sandpaper. Generally, you can even go with a lower grit or around the same grit as you have. We're going to take it and hand sand that floor. Like to have the oil on there. It just pushes that oil back down in that floor, and you get to keep that color. As you can see, here we've got a few deep scratches, which I put in with the actual trowel on purpose. But all this scratch tip from sandpaper, they're gone. We'll try to get that one out too, but adding just a little bit more there. Give them some a little bit more sanding. And we'll wipe it down. So visually, you're looking over the top. We've got our color match. It blends into the floor. But with the issue with oils, natural oils, is if I stood back about 10 feet, you'd see the exact spot where I've hand sanded that. Reason being is because where I've hand sanded that, I'm going directly horizontal with the grain of the wood, and that'll show up when light reflects off of it. Whereas if you're putting a polyurethane over it, that polyurethane is going to give you your sheen. It builds up and creates a film, so that's not an issue. But with this particular floor, this particular finish, it is. So what we'll do is we'll come back, add a little bit more oil over the top. And I generally like to take an SPP pad, put it on a palm sander, because it's orbital. Take it. And I'll hit that. I'll put oil underneath it so I'm not sanding into the finish. But I'm still once again driving that oil down, but I'm now burnishing that or polishing that floor with the same orbital motion that the rest of the floor has. That way when I stand back at an angle, I'm still getting that same reflection because the wood has the same texture as everywhere else, and I don't get that shiny or dull spot in the floor. I would have if I just hand sanded or hand rubbed it in.